If you're like me, you may be someone who likes to produce music on the go. Maybe you like going to a third place, like a cafe. Maybe you're inspired by being in an environment such as nature. And if you're like me, you may want to reduce the number of gear and components you need to take with you. You just want something simple with a reduced footprint that you can put on your temporary work surface wherever you are. Simple is beautiful. And that's where the Prism XR Vega T1 wireless earbuds come in. In this review, I'll cover what they are, what they do, how they work with the DAW, who they're for, and why someone should purchase them. I'll include links for the product in the description. Although I may earn a small fee for the sale of these products, no one paid me for this review, and I purchased these units with my own money. This is my honest review of the product. So quick backstory. I recently got into VR. I wanted to test it for producing music, performing music, and even productivity purposes. And yes, some gaming too. So I went out and I purchased a MetaQuest headset, the Quest 3. And as I got into it, I was enjoying using like virtual theaters and things like that and doing work. But if I was working in an environment with people next to me, say like my family in the living room, the audio that the speakers produce can be heard by people who are next to you. So I thought I should get some headphones. So I got a pair of wired headphones that would come out the side. And they're nice, but they're wired. The wires are everywhere. It's easy to kind of like maybe get tangled up in them when you're trying to move around. And then I tried it wireless, but I tried it wireless with my AirPods Pro, and that was horrible because there was such a latency between what I would see on the VR screen and then what I would hear from the AirPods Pro. That normally like Apple devices will compensate for due to Apple's W1 technology, I think. But the AirPods were not a great solution. So I discovered the Prism XR Vega T1 earbuds. What they are wireless earbuds that use a dongle to produce low latency audio between an audio source on USB-C to the earbuds themselves. They will work with Bluetooth, but of course that's using standard Bluetooth, and that introduces a lot more latency. They're built for the MetaQuest system specifically, and they allow for charging pass-through. So I purchased the headphones and I tried them out on some video games on the Quest 3. I used them on some beat-based video games, say like Beat Saber, and they worked pretty well. And that got me thinking, would they work well with another USB-C device, say like an iPad, for music production? So one of my favorite mobile work companions is my iPad Pro. I have the M2 Pro, which was the latest version until they just announced the M4s. And Logic for iPad is an amazing piece of software. You know, unlike GarageBand, it's a pretty full-fledged Logic experience. And you have much of the functionality of Logic right there on your tablet, including mixing on a control surface, so you don't need an external control surface, or playing instruments via the built-in keyboard, so you don't need an external keyboard. Although, of course, if you're really playing a piano line or something like that, an external keyboard is preferable to the touch surface. So my question was, will these work with Logic on the iPad Pro? And the short answer is that they do, for limited purposes in limited situations. So let's talk about some of the aspects of the Vega T1s. The primary feature, of course, is its reduced latency. So Prism XR says that their latency is around 25 milliseconds. That's pretty good. It's good enough for entry via on-screen instruments in Logic, or like penciling in notes, using the step sequencer, or even holding down chords and arpeggiating. It can also be somewhat acceptable when using an external keyboard, where the use of quantization post-recording would be acceptable. Now you might be asking, why not use the AirPods Pro to do this? Whereas the T1s have a latency of about 25 milliseconds, the AirPods Pro have a latency of about 126 milliseconds. The Vega T1s feel more responsive when editing or mixing, doing changes to the EQ or the envelopes or the cutoff filter on a synth, something like that. It's more responsive than the AirPods Pro, which really kind of lag behind the editing operation. Now, for performing live from an external keyboard into the iPad Pro via an external MIDI controller, the Vega T1 latency of 25 milliseconds combined with Logic Pro's internal instruments latency, it's just a little too sluggish for confident entry. Of course, this can be fixed post-entry via the quantization. Now, one of the questions you can ask is, do they color the tone? And yeah, they kind of do. They're not complete and transparent. You can't expect that from earbuds. If you want to do proper mixing or mastering, you really should be doing it with near-field monitors in a controlled environment or acoustically treated studio, and maybe with the inclusion of studio headphones, things that are very, very equal in the response to signals. But nothing's perfect. Even studio monitors have slight colorization, and the studios can have standing waves and things like that too. So you're always kind of correcting and adjusting for the environment you're in. So all that being said, yeah, the T1s have some coloring, but they can be useful for basic scratch mixing, laying down ideas and testing them out, picking up various synthesis sounds that you might want to be using for various parts, and even tweaking them, adding effects, adding EQ. It's just not going to be used for what your final product is. You need to test it out on a better system. Now, as far as their volume level is, the volume level is decent. It's not the loudest, most powerful volume out there. Then again, I prefer to monitor whether it's using AirPods or my near fields or headphones. I prefer to monitor at lower volume levels just to protect my hearing. They don't have automatic noise reduction, but when they pop in your ears, they seal well enough that if you're in a moderately loud environment, say like a cafe where there are people talking, you'll hear them, but they won't be so loud. You can hear the music coming from the iPad a lot more prominently, and you can, if you're like me, you can focus on that. It's not that much of a detriment. And I'm able to concentrate on basic like harmonic and rhythmic structures and what I'm creating, and I get useful information from them. Now they do come with a little dongle. The dongle works with a USB-C port on my M2 iPad Pro and even allows for pass-through charging to the iPad. It can also be used with other computers and machines via its USB-C interface or the included USB-A adapter. They're fairly reasonably priced as of the recording of this video at about $70. Now they have a lot of features too, which include in-game video chats and pass-through phone calls, so you can hook it up via Bluetooth to your phone while the dongle's in a gaming unit or your iPad or something like that, and then you can receive a phone call from the device. I haven't tested that out. That's not really a feature I'm interested in when I'm working. I'm just focused on working. So what use cases would I recommend this for? I believe it's really useful for pre-production. So when you're just getting your basic ideas, laying out the form of your song, deciding on chords and harmonies, checking rhythms. There's a lot you can do now with the AI kind of instrument players inside Logic, including the bass player, the keyboard player, the drummer. Also using their chord lanes and stuff like that, plus using the arpeggiators, and you can also, I can just keep going, but you get the idea that there's a lot that you can do. Again, I want to say that it's not for the final editing. Like, you want to mix and master this on a better system before you release your tune. But all that said, they're very small and light. They're portable. They charge just like AirPods in their little case. They are easy to transport. They fit into a small bag with the iPad, and they're really light and portable. And with just the iPad and these and maybe a small stand, I can go to any place that has a table and just work comfortably for quite some time. So who's it for? It's for producers who want the convenience of no wires. Those who want a simple, compact to-go setup. Who want to experience the joy of wireless minimalism. And who want that studio in a tiny bag. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what your favorite to-go production setup is. Until next time.